Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. It's the In Wheel Time car talk show. Just ahead, we talked to Gregory Ditch, auto shop teacher, about his growing program and what makes it successful, and girls in the class.
All right.
Right on.
All right.
The Nissan kicks it. I'll give you my impression of it. We'll also have the cruise-in calendar, and later Conrad will have This Week in Auto History. I'll have stories making automotive news headlines, too. Just ahead on this portion of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show, our live version. Howdy, along with Mike Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Thanks so much for joining us on this Saturday here in Houston, Texas, USA. It's rodeo time. And let's see, rodeo parade starts now or in 30 minutes.
Yep,
it's something like that. 10:30, I don't know.
And it's very warm, very muggy.
So don't be driving downtown because they're going to kick you out.
Last weekend it was freezing or cold, very cold.
It was
here.
chilly, but today I think it's supposed to be 80 this afternoon.
We had the heat on in the studio last week. This week we got the air conditioning on.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but it works for us.
Mess you up.
Yeah.
Could be worse. We could be living up in the Midwest.
Or
we could.
California.
Or California
Yeah,
this weekend. Golly. All right.
It snowed in San Diego.
Can you
for
believe
them.
that? I can't
Didn't
believe
Didn't
it.
rain.
Didn't rain. And, it never rains in Southern California. It snows, but it doesn't rain.
Good for them.
All right. His name is Gregory Ditch. He's the auto shop teacher at a growing program. And I was just trying to get a little background about where you are, Gregory. I understand that you're up in the Chicago area.
Yeah, and you can just call me Greg. My mom calls me Gregory, or the judge calls me Gregory. So,
well, that's what I was just giving Gregory. You're up there in Napperville North High School. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, you guys were talking about the Midwest. We're about 40 miles or so west of Chicago. We're in the west suburbs up here. So yeah, it's freezing cold out there today. So, the best thing, I guess, I lived in Texas for a number of years, and coming up here, we've got this harsh winter, so it locks me in the shop where we're able to get a bunch of stuff done. So that could be why a lot of the kids like doing the autos classes. We have this nice heated shop, and it keeps them from being outside shoveling snow.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever been to Brainerd, Minnesota?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I've got, I go to far northern Minnesota to get a lot of my junkyard engines and things, and it's kind of brutal up there.
Well, I will tell you that back in 2006, I was on the NHRA drag racing tour, and one of the highlights of the actual tour for me personally was going to Brainerd, which is in the middle of nowhere in Minnesota,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and they have a thing called the zoo, and it's a big camping area actually on the road course next to the drag strip. And I will tell you that I have never seen so much creativity when it comes to cars. And I'm thinking, wow, they need to bring this down to Texas. That'll never happen because up there in Minnesota, they have all winter long, besides going ice fishing, to work on their cars, either in the basement or in the shop. And they come up with these most creative things I've ever seen with engines and cars. They run this parade through the zoo on Friday and Saturday nights. It's absolutely hysterical and very educational.
Yeah, and up here, there's a huge car culture. I grew up, I'm from this area originally, but when I was a kid, my parents moved to Dallas, and then I taught in the Houston area for a while. And it's a very different car culture there than it is here. And you're right. You're sort of stuck in this, you get this cabin fever, and there's not a lot to do if you don't ice fish or don't do some of the harsh winter things. So everybody sort of gets cooped up, and then, when the weather starts to turn, their cars are ready to go, and there's some pretty neat stuff up here. And there's a race I want to go to in Wisconsin that they do the ice drags up there, and maybe next year I'll have a chance to go up there and do it. But I don't know if it's an eighth mile or quarter mile, but these guys get these studded tires, and it's just like bracket racing, but on ice. So, yeah, you got to, if you're a car guy, you have to do something to kill the time up here because
being an original Wisconsinite from way back, I can say this: the people in Wisconsin are weird. So am I.
Oh, absolutely.
and so that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. So who do you have sitting next to you?
We've got
professional ice skater,
professional,
obviously.
professional ice skater. Yeah, we caught you earlier coming in here when you were trying to figure out how to pronounce Alina Bakarova, and you're wondering if she's a gymnast or an ice skater. She is from the former Soviet Union, so yeah, we had to pull her off of ice practice this morning for the Olympics. So
I love
here.
it. Well, I knew that
Nice.
she was either going to be an ice skater or a ballerina or a gymnast or something like that.
Or a diesel mechanic
Or a diesel
There you
mechanic.
go. That was our next choice.
Not a very popular sport, doesn't pay very much, so my career was very short-lived.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're here with us this morning because we really want to kind of focus on the shop program up there at the high school and the inclusion of girls. And, I have 2 daughters myself. Unfortunately, I didn't bring them. Well, I drugged them to every car event that I went to, which were plenty, but they just didn't pick up on that. My youngest is an astrophysicist, so I guess that's as close as you can get to car work as you can get. But I will tell you that, I'm always impressed when I see a young lady, especially in school, learning the trade.
Yeah, and it's kind of a weird thing how this started. So I've been at Napperville for 3 years. I came in 2021, and that was the height of the pandemic, and schools were closed, and I had to teach autos online. So that was just, it was miserable. It was
Brutal.
bad. And we probably had maybe 2 or 3 girls in the entire automotive program for the whole year. And that's kind of typical of what you see. And most of your schools around here, there's a couple of girls. And then we started opening up after school. So if there was a club or a sport or an organization, the students were allowed to come in after school. So we focused on building this 1995 Mustang for World of Wheels, and this program was so small. We only had like 40 kids, and they hired me to kind of, if I could bring it back, I had a job. If I didn't get the numbers up, then have a nice day, go somewhere else. So I was teaching an engineering class as well, and these kids were really wanting to get hands-on stuff because doing an engineering class online again is just worse than maybe an automotive class. So some of these gals started coming in after school, and they sort of formed their own group. And, when they got the hands-on stuff and realized that most of the mechanical and electrical stuff that we do, or all of it really, all the mechanical and electrical that we do in our auto shop translates into engineering. And that's where I've drawn a lot of the kids from, is that they want to do something practical. So they learn a lot of theory in engineering and they come over. But the girls thing just sort of grew. A few of them would hang out here on Friday nights, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and they wanted to start their own thing. And I had this little Chevy S10 pickup in the back of the shop that I've had for a few years, and they sort of adopted it as their own, and it became their thing. And, here we are now where I've got about 200 kids in our automotive program, and somewhere around 15 to 20% is female enrollment. So
Wow.
I don't know official numbers in the area, but I definitely know I'm, if not the biggest, probably one of the larger segments of young ladies in this program. And I have many more of them now as we're going through that are interested in going into the trades and not just taking the class because it's a fun class, which it is, but they are seeing that this is a great field. And Alina could probably tell you a little bit more about, from a lady's perspective, why it makes sense.
Why does it make sense, Alina?
It just does. It's perfect for me because I can't sit still. So I always have to work on something, and it's a great opportunity to have fun and prove yourself. And it's art. To me, it's art.
Well, it is art, and that's interesting that you should say that because I never looked at it that way, but it is, in a way, art, and it's also the engineering aspect of art. And, an S10 pickup, pretty simple to work on for the most part.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that you guys have – is it running?
No. God, everybody has to ask that hard question.
Sorry.
Is it running yet?
Dodge.
Yeah. Sure it runs. It's just too loud. We can't start it up. There's kids in the next classroom. No. So yeah, it's pretty modified. And, there's 2 high schools in this district, and there's a guy at the other high school who's LS swapping this Volvo. So it's kind of this competition between him and I, between who is going to get it running quicker or faster. And of course his fired up just a couple of days ago. So, but yeah, it's not the original 4-cylinder anymore. We've had a couple of variants, and I've got a couple of different engines in this truck, but this is an LT1 out of what you would have found in like a C4 Corvette. So it's got a little hotter cam in it and nitrous oxide. So the engine we're figuring it's going to make right around 400 horsepower, and then, add 100 or 200 shot of nitrous, whatever we go with on it, to get it up to 500 or 600 horsepower. The chassis on the truck is not the original chassis anymore. We did what's called a back half, which is popular in drag racing, where they cut the back half of the chassis off, and it's just, instead of a C frame, where if you can imagine, like the metal is just shaped like a C. The manufacturers do that to cut down weight and cost. This is a full box frame from the cab back. It has roll bar on it. The interior's been gutted out on it. The rear axle out of it came out of either a 97 or 98 Ford Explorer. And on the Explorers, the axle on the driver's side is 3 inches longer than the passenger side. So we had to cut the driver's side down 3 inches and use 2 passenger side axles. We had a kid that fabricated a lot of the brackets and mounting on the chassis and the axle. And we're going to run a 273 in it, which is good for land speed racing. I'm just trying to think of, anything you could think of on this truck that you could modify has pretty much been done, and it's all been done by students.
So how do you, where do you start with the students when the school year starts? This is what we're going to do. Let's start with the engine. Yeah. Let's start with the chassis. Let's start with the electrical. Where do you start?
Everywhere. So I have kids that are interested in, and we're just a general automotive program. So we don't necessarily have like a paint shop, a body shop, an engine shop, right? It's a general high school shop class. So I'll have kids that come in and say, I'm really interested in building engines, and great. So, a couple days a week, you guys will tear down an engine and rebuild it. And, we've got some junkyard engines they can practice on. And then we'll have the good engine that they'll finally put together. And we have mentors and partners in the community with people that will come in. Like, we have someone that owns an engine shop, and he'll help the kids assemble the engine and coach them and guide them through.
Cool. Yeah.
Same way with the transmission shop. I've got kids that are like, hey, I bought a car that's got a bad transmission. I want to learn a little bit more. So, if I can't fix it, at least I understand what's wrong. Got kids that want to go into paint and body or restoration. So I just sort of figure out what their interest is. And if they don't know, we just sort of circulate them around a little bit and figure out what they like or what they're good at.
You go with the flow. I think that's a great, that's a great plan.
And that's cool that the kids are doing that, because they do want to learn, and they're thinking, once I fix it, hey, I got a nice little car.
Right. And I used to be a used car dealer. So, my background from a typical auto shop teacher is a little bit different, where a lot of these guys worked in the dealership for a few years. They were either service writers or worked on cars. My background's really different. I kind of came up through racing. I worked on some smaller NASCAR truck teams and did my own thing, and worked with some land speed racers, which is how this Texas Mile thing came about years ago. We've run it before when I was teaching in Texas, but and then also I had a small little independent used car lot, and I'd have to go to auction, and we didn't sell high-end cars. They were the $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 cars that were basic transportation, and a lot of them had over 100,000 miles. They were 10 years old, so they needed things, and being able to spot that stuff in 30 seconds in the auction lane becomes very important. And I understand most of these kids are going out there and buying cheap cars. So, hey, how can you get this car and fix it up so it either runs good, or, maybe learn how to do some paint correction on it and tune it up. And then maybe you could flip this car, drive it for a year, and then, sort of keep upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. And I've got some kids that have done that.
Well, Conrad's a big advocate of, teaching kids what to do and how to do it, and get them into the automotive business. It's a great, actually, I think the future is brighter now than it ever has been.
Absolutely.
Because the pay is now getting to where it should have been all along.
Well, depending on how they work and where they work, a flat rate hour is a good pay scale for a technician that can do productive work in a good environment.
Well, and this is an interesting thing. So there's a company up here called Reyes Holdings, and what they do is they maintain the fleets of trucks for like Monster Energy and Coca-Cola, and I think McDonald's and some of the big corporations. So basically, they're the transportation people. And what they have realized is they said they were waiting way too long to recruit students or potential mechanics. They were going to places like Lincoln Tech or UTI or Wyotech or wherever it is that they were going. And these, the best students coming out already had offers going in.
Oh, yeah.
So they're trying to get with, and this is not just them, but local dealers and other aftermarket people are coming in here trying to get the interest of our students as they come in as 9th graders and 10th graders and try to develop this relationship so that they have an idea of maybe what they want or where to go, or at least like, hey, yeah, this guy's always in here. I've got a relationship with him. So when I have a question, I want to go to my mentor and say, hey, is Diesel Tech the right place for me? Or is paint and body the right place for me? And what opportunities do you have, or what kind of paid training do you offer, or internships, or whatever it may be? And our school is getting much more proactive, and not just on the auto side, but in the business side and other things.
Getting noticed, yeah.
Yeah, and we don't, when I was in high school, we had a co-op program where we got out early. This district doesn't, but that's one of the things that we're switching to, is we're realizing that our students need the opportunity to get into the workplace. And of anything, and you guys will agree with this, that it's not so much what that kid knows, but the attitude.
Exactly.
And
work ethic is everything.
And not only knowing about the car, but you need to get out in the world to learn about the business side of it too.
Correct. And we had an advisory panel when we were rewriting our curriculum this summer, and we had folks from Toyota and GM and Dent Wizard and just a bunch of other businesses around here that were automotive related. And the one thing that came up is, if you've got a student that has good soft skills, if they report to work on time, they have a good attitude, they dress right, they're professional, they have good communication skills, we'll teach them. We can teach them everything. But if they don't have those skills, they could be the best mechanic in the world. We don't. They're problem. They're toxic for the workplace. So we do focus a lot on soft skills here. We, the meet and greet of the customer, we focus a lot on that. When they come in the classroom, it's it's kind of funny where it's almost like, I sold cars for years, and it's, how are you today? What brings you in? And we kind of have this little dialogue like that. So we do focus a lot on the soft skills and the business side. And part of, like with the race team, these students have to interact with some of our partners that provide parts for the shop or some of our projects, and they do media. They get out and have to talk to people and answer questions. So I think that exposure is
well,
super
and working at dealerships, making sure that you can communicate the complaint, cause, and correction on a document is critical to getting paid from the manufacturer's warranty.
I want to hear more about the Texas Mile. I want to find out more about.
We're going to do it at the bottom of the hour, I think.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
We're gonna focus on
back.
her.
You mind, we're talking soft skills right now.
All right.
And Jeff has
obviously
none.
I don't have any.
He doesn't. He clearly doesn't.
I've only been doing this for all my life.
I have to ask you: do you guys have like a cruise in or something that you're planning toward the end of the school year? Going into May.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So they've always had a car show up here to benefit the autos program, and it was never that big. And last year, for some reason, it was the first year I put on a car show, and we had like 140 cars come in on a Friday morning.
Oh wow!
So we do it. Yeah, it was great. It was just amazing with the number of people and the outreach and support that we got. So the idea was really to kind of promote what we're doing in the auto shop, to let people know that, shop programs are alive. Keep the programs alive, keep them going. They're hard to fill. They're hard to find certified and qualified teachers. They're hard. You have to get out. I have to go out and promote. I go out in the lunchroom and talk to kids and invite them to our shop and tell them to come in after school and check out what we have.
Well, like the band class has got the spaghetti supper. I'm thinking that you guys need to have a taco Saturday with a big bunch of cars show up on a Saturday morning cruise in, and have them come and tour the shop and get you some mentorship going there.
Absolutely, and that's what we've done with the car show. The car show, like I said, 140 people came out last year. The local Corvette Club, local Mustang Club, the Model A Club, the Model T Club, the Buick Club, the Cadillac Club, you name it. I had a car from every decade from 1920 to 2020. They were here, and we raised $5,000 or $6,000 for our program.
Very nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, where it's weird, it's on a Saturday morning. Everybody's like, man, it's like from 10:30 to 1:30. This is an odd time for a car show. But we do it during our 3 lunch periods. And, it's never been this big. We expected 50 or 60 cars. That was our goal. And then, like, the week before, it just exploded. And we had so many people here supporting us. And teachers were literally having to shut classes down because kids just weren't coming to class because they were hanging out at the car show. We had taco trucks out here. And, the Army had this inflatable obstacle course out here. So and that's like probably in December before Christmas even. I was getting emails from people, hey, is the car show coming back? And, this was the best car show of the season. It's like, wow, I've never put on a car show
before
before.
Christmas.
So,
wow.
Yeah. I was excited. It was like, wow, man, this is like, this is real. People are excited about it.
The good thing for your students is the jobs they're learning, the task they're learning is in super high demand. Be it dealerships or independent shops, they can't find skilled technicians, so, and hopefully you're producing maybe more of a C or a B level technician,
right.
That can go and relatively quickly be an income producer for the shop as opposed to being an expense for the shop that they're paying on a salary.
Greg, it's great to talk to you. We're out of time for this segment. We certainly appreciate it. We're going to rejoin you guys here in about 10 minutes and talk to Alina about what she's got going on there at the school.
Skating.
Yeah, figure skating.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. So we're going to talk to you guys, and I can't thank you enough for joining us. So hang in there. We'll be back with you guys in just a short while.
Sounds awesome.
All right, Greg Ditch. He is the auto shop teacher up at Napperville North High School. Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, don't forget you can always shoot us an email. Our address here is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for this hour's car review. Had a chance to drive the 2023 Nissan Kicks. What a fun little car this is.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Steve Parrott for letting me drive this thing. 2023 Nissan Kicks comes in 3 trim levels, the S, the SV, and the SR. I reviewed the SR with the CVT transmission in it. It's a mid-sized car, but we call it an extra small SUV. That's my take on it. It seats 5 with limited rear seat legroom. It's small. It's all new for 2018. An attractive Nissan grille, lower valance, defined front wheel openings, and fender bulges. Awesome front and rear lighting detail. This one had the optional black roof on it that kind of gave it that
Floating.
not so much the floating thing. I was more along the lines of, isn't this what Mini does? The different colored roofs and that sort of stuff. It adds to the overall appeal, I think.
It's like a Minnie Mouse.
Huh?
I visualized Minnie Mouse for a moment. I couldn't figure out what you.
Sorry, Steve.
Minnie Mouse. Has he
Go
been
on.
smoking something
Yeah, I
here?
think so. Yeah.
Anyway, all of the design touches are spot on. Interior highlights. Excellent dash design with easy-to-use infotainment system. Plasticky door panels that will outlive you. Attractive upholstery. Enough tech to satisfy your 13-year-old. Cargo trunk room, limited. This is an extra small hatchback, so don't expect to have, some steamer luggage that you can throw back there because that ain't happening. What I liked about it, I like the indestructible interior. This would be a great car for somebody going off to college, first car, small family, whatever the case may be. What could use improvement? The seats lack a little lumbar support and upper back support. I think they could do a little work on that.
Well, that's because you're old and your lumbar is
decrepit.
Saggy.
Decrepit, that's not all. 1.6 liter inline 4-cylinder that has 122 horsepower and 114 pound-feet of torque. Not a lot, but remember, this is a
on a CVT, that's just right.
Yeah, it actually is. Gets 31 miles per gallon in the city, and get this, 36 on the highway for a combined of 33. I got 34.5 miles per gallon over 400 miles.
Old Dr. Soft Shoe.
Not really. I mean, going to work, I'm doing 75 on the Beltway for 30 miles. That's not
if you're running with the traffic.
Yeah. What I liked about it was the fuel economy. It was easy to drive. It was fun. What could use improvement? A little more horsepower or at least an optional engine with turbo, because all of them have the same motor in it. And that's not a bad thing. But they keep the price down with that, and that's important. What I liked about it, the fun suspension, but it's not racy. You can toss it around the corners. What could use improvement? Nothing. Ride and handling, set to appeal to the masses. Base trim price, $22,850. Prices tested, $27,915. And the base model price, if you could find one, $20,290.
Wow.
That's nice.
It competes with the Kia Soul for $19,890. The Chevy Trailblazer, which is a little bit bigger, $22,100, and the Hyundai Kona for $22,140. I think that it's really spot-on competitor. Mars may differ with me on this. Would be the Kia Soul
And you
for
drove one of those.
$19,890. Yeah, I had one. They're to me, they go head to head, size and price, that sort of
Right.
thing.
I would say so.
Yeah.
That's good.
So anyway, that's the review of the 2023 Nissan Kicks SR CVT. I liked it.
Nice.
Go to your Nissan dealer and ask to drive one. It may be too small for you, but I get it. I think
But there's a place for that.
I
you
totally agree.
And they have a larger mid-size SUV above that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that's
I think it's
too small,
the
you know, there's
Rogue.
something else you can
I
look
think
at.
the Rogue is upscale from
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yep. Matter of fact, I know somebody that has a Rogue. Boy, is that a nice car.
Yeah, my son has a Rogue. He loves it.
Yeah, I could totally get that.
Yeah, it's the Rogue that T-boned my Cadillac.
Was it a Rogue that it was?
Mhm.
How did the Rogue do in the T-bone?
It rolled.
It rolled.
Mhm.
Well, I
You
mean,
know, it is
I
when you
think
roll your Rogue.
that's not the car that's sitting out there.
No, that's the replacement.
The replacement for it, because they totaled the other one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Mhm.
I do want to remind you
Okay.
that the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com, and podcasts are available at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier car cruise-in returns Saturday, April 15th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Bring your hot rod, classic, resto mod, or any other vehicle you'd like to show and compete for one of 3 highly coveted chili pepper trophies. This April 15th kickoff event is one you'll want to put on your calendar because 100% of the money you donate for the free tacos will be given to God's Garage. You heard right. Free tacos. Whatever you decide to give, all of it will be given to God's Garage and matched by Lupi Tortilla. God's Garage gifts vehicles to single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military in the greater Houston area. In fact, the Garage will gift a vehicle to a mom in need at this special event. Be sure to attend the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Saturday, April 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Free breakfast tacos for any donation to God's Garage. It'll make your heart and your belly feel good. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In-Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In-Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.